Hi, so welcome, and today we're going to start off with our mobilizer and our warm-up for our Pilates. So make sure that you're feeling well today, that you haven't got any massive problems with your joints. If you have, then I would recommend that you sit out today and not actually practice, okay? So really listen to your body and your mind, and if you're not feeling quite up to it, then step out for today. Okay, but if you're feeling pretty much ready to go, then let's get started. We're going to start with our feet together. Shoulders relaxed, and I just want you to take your heels out and your toes out so you've got your feet approximately hip width distance. The arms are relaxed, the legs are long and lengthened, the tailbone is moving down towards the floor, the abdominals are drawn in with the pelvic floor, front and back passage lifting up. The spine is feeling very long and lengthened, as if you've got a piece of string coming out through the top of your head. So you feel very, very tall. Pressing down through that big toe so the feet remain grounded, relaxing through the shoulders. Take a few deep breaths here, breathing wide and full into the rib cage, north, south, east and west. So breathing in and exhale. And then repeat this a couple of more times, just softly breathing wide and full into that rib cage and allowing it to relax. Again, one more time. Inhale to raise and exhale to release. So from here, let's begin by working through the shoulders first. So I want you to use the range of motion that's good for your shoulders. Inhale, raise the arms up softly and then gently bring them down. So thinking about all those things that we just spoke about, retaining the activation of the abdominal muscles, the pelvic floor. Thinking about stabilizing through the shoulders as we raise the arms up and down. The shoulders should softly glide down the back. If it feels uncomfortable through the shoulder, just open the arms out a little bit wider into a V position. Keep thinking about drawing the tailbone down so that the back does not arch excessively. So we're going to complete about 5 to 8 repetitions of our shoulders just flexing and extending. Again, you can soften the elbows if that feels better, so it's not so extended through the elbow joint. And just thinking about lifting tall through the body and keeping the breath flowing very softly and naturally. From there, bring the arms either across the chest here or out into a Cossack position. Keep the elbow below the shoulder. Inhale, exhale, turn to one side and come back to center. So begin by taking a small range of motion first. Avoid really going straight into the rotation deeply. So decrease the range of motion for any spinal conditions. Feeling the length up, out through the spine, keeping the hips facing forwards like headlights of a car. The shoulders are relaxed and gliding down into your imaginary back pockets behind you. Allowing the breath to float very naturally. So we inhale here, exhale, float round to the side, inhale back to center. Exhale, floating around to the other side, and then inhale back to center. So we're going to do about 5 each side, 6 each side roughly. Pressing down through the big toe, keeping the feet connected to the ground, elongating through the spine. From there, relaxing the arms down beside you. We're going to slowly start to side bend. So side bending to your right and coming back to center, and then over to the left and back to center. So as you go over, be mindful not to put all your weight onto one foot. Try and keep the weight evenly distributed. Lift up, out through your waistline, a bit like a cork in a bottle of wine. Just gently trying to lift that cork up, out of the bottle. Lifting through that spine. To progress it, take the arm up and over. So we're just swaying from side to side. Taking a soft stretch through the side of the body. Imagining you're like a windscreen wiper on a car, so you avoid leaning too far forwards, and you really keep that chest open as we float over to each side. Keep the weight evenly distributed through the feet. Just repeating about 5 repetitions each side. Elongating through the spine as we come back to center, and then bowing over once more each side, allowing the breath to flow very naturally, keeping that core engaged and lifting through the pelvic floor. Good. From there, we're then going to gently come to our next movement. So this is just utilizing the hips now. So you can keep your hands on your hips if this is going to help keep you feel stabilized through the pelvis. If not, take the arms out to the side or allow the hands just to relax beside the body. So we're going to take the foot forwards here and then glide the foot round to the side and then back to the center and then close. So gliding the foot out in front, round to the side, back to the center and close. So what we're doing here is trying to maintain the level of the hips to be level and avoiding any hip shifting. Taking the leg round to the side and back to center. You'll feel also that it's challenging the core through the balance that we're performing. If you wish to make it a little bit more challenging, take the foot slightly off the floor and then allow the legs to glide just an inch or so from the floor. Now when you're gliding around, think about contracting through the supporting buttocks and up through the thigh muscle as well, so that you're really feeling tall and lifted. Avoid sinking into the hip and destabilizing that hip. Keep it really strong through the leg, gliding the leg forwards and backwards. So we're going to take about 5 repetitions each side altogether. Drawing in all the time through that belt muscle, don't forget it. Imagine you've got a piece of string on your belly button and it's slowly pulling you through to the back, or someone's pulling that string behind you. Thinking about, especially as you transfer the legs, that you don't have any hip shifting as well. It may be better to do this movement on a smooth floor, like a kitchen surface or a wooden floor. Being on a carpet sometimes or a mat can make it feel a bit sticky as you perform the movement. And what happens is then the pelvis destabilizes once more each side. Lifting up through the body, elongating as tall as you can, shoulders relaxed. Allow the breath just carry on floating nice and softly as you perform the movement. Okay, so we're going to take the feet about hip width apart and we're going to move into a squat position, working through the hips, the knees and the ankles. Allow the hands to relax, draw in through your belt muscle. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, allow yourself just to take a small bend through the ankles, the hips and the knees and come back to standing. And go again. So we're going to take about 10 reps altogether. Now each rep that you could do, you can imagine you're sitting on sort of like a bar stool and then coming back up. But each rep as you go down, you can get a little bit deeper. Now I can't go deep because I've got tight Achilles tendons, but if you can get down to where you've got sort of like a dining room level chair, that would be a good place to aim for. If not, just work it through as much range of motion as you can, but please don't go lower than the dining room level of the chair. We want to think about keeping the knees above the toes, so that they don't go beyond the toes. Keep the heels grounded as you perform the movement. As you go down, draw in through your core stabilizing muscles so your lower spine is always supported. As you come back up, squeeze through the glutes and the thighs to help open out the hips. Lengthen up through the spine. Continue floating through the movement. Inhale down and exhale to lift. And again, inhale down, pressing through those feet and lifting. Be mindful that, as I say when we're in classes, not to do a little bit of a Charleston move there with the knees. Keep the knees in line with the hips as you move up and down. Okay, so from here, we're going to come into our roll down and roll up through the spine. So for this one, I just want you to take a carefully controlled roll down, vertebra by vertebra. So I'll turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing. From here, I'm going to start with a small range of motion. I want to imagine that I've got buttons on the shirt here, and I'm going to try and get my nose to each button as I roll down. If you have a spinal problem such as osteoporosis, then I'd recommend just bowing through the hips, through a hip hinge, and then coming back through to standing, and avoid over flexing the spine. Deep breath in here, roll down the nose to the first button, the second button, bend through the knees if you need to. Hands fall in front, slowly then articulate back through the spine to a standing position. Inhale, exhale, go again, folding through the spine as you go a little bit further this time, allowing the arms to be very relaxed, so the hands might now dangle to the middle of the shin, and then roll back up to standing, restacking each vertebra one by one. Open out through the chest, squeeze the gluteals, the buttocks as you return to standing to open out the hips. Inhale, exhale, roll down again. Keep the legs straight if that feels better. Just aiming a little bit further towards the floor now, and then slowly articulate each knot, spiraling the legs out as you activate the buttock muscles. Open out through the hips, restack through the spine, all the way to lengthen up. And again, inhale, exhale, fold through. Press down through the feet, reach towards as far as you feel that you can. Allow the breath to relax. Inhale, exhale, slowly articulate back up through the spine, spiraling the legs around, activating the buttocks, open out the hips, lengthen up through the spine, feeling the height up out through the body. One last time, inhale, exhale, curling down through the spine, slow and controlled. Bending through the hips, the knees and the ankles, or keeping the legs a little bit more extended. Feel the stretch through the back of the body. Inhale, exhale. Bend your knees if you need to as you come back up to the standing position. And then from here, opening out through the chest, re-establishing your awareness of the feet into the ground, lengthening up through the thigh muscles, activating through the buttocks, drawing in through the belt muscle, relaxing through the shoulders, allowing the breath to breathe nice and full into that rib cage, breathing north, south, east and west. So welcome now to the main phase. First, you should have completed the Pilates mobilizer, the warm-up. This is really important to help really oil the joints and get the joints warmed up in preparation for the main phase to help decrease the risk of injury. So the first move that we're going to come to is the 100. So I'm going to layer this through a few options. Okay, so coming to lay onto your back in what we call the set up supine position. So legs can start together, and then you can take the heels out and toes out, so that you're approximately a fist distance on the knees. Relax through the shoulders, open up through the chest, hands elongated, arms lengthened, really reaching towards those heels. So the arms aren't completely relaxed, they are active as they're lying here to help stabilize and glide the shoulders down behind. You're going to start by breathing in, exhale, slide the rib cage towards the pelvis so everything is connected here. Inhale, exhale, raise the right leg up to a tabletop position, and then carefully lower the leg back towards the mat. Keep repeating this with each leg. So raising the leg up to a tabletop position and gently going back. Now the hardest part is where the leg leaves the floor just here, and then it starts to feel a little bit easier as it comes up towards the tabletop. And as you go back, you're going to feel the hardest part is about here as the foot goes back towards the floor. So we're going to complete about 5 reps each side, really thinking about the quality of the movement as you perform it. Stabilizing through the shoulders and keeping the hips nice and level. So I want you to imagine that you have a small tray, a long tray along the hips, and you've got a couple of glasses of water there. So as you're moving, you're trying to keep the hips really steady to avoid any hip twisting and any of the water spilling out of the cups. So as you lift the leg up, comes towards 90 degrees, and I want you to imagine a little cream bun behind the back of the leg there. So if you drop the shin, you'd end up squashing the cream bun. So really think about how you're moving, the control of the movement. Drawing in through the pelvic floor and through your belt muscle as you perform the movement. So I'm now going to begin to add on. So from here, I'm now going to fold my head up. So I'm going to breathe in, exhale, fold the head up so my arms reach further down towards my heels. And then go the other side. Breathe out and then breathe in. So keep traveling through the movement, breathing out and breathing in. Avoid hanging the head back as you do this. So avoid having the head here, because otherwise it's going to really ache the neck. Really try to bring the head up, fold through, so you use the front rectus abdominis muscle to really lift you up from the mat. If you find that you get tired, just keep the head on the floor and go back to the single knee folds instead. Breathing out, coming up and back down. One more each side. Breathing out, lifting up, back down, really with good quality and control. And last side, and then release back to the floor. So from here, if you need to, bring the knees into the chest, or soften the neck off by turning the head. Take a full body stretch if you wish to. Okay, do what you need to do to release out. So now, building onto this exercise, we're going to extend the leg as we do the knee fold. You can also keep the head down if that's going to be better, if you've got any neck concerns or issues. So, setting up the body, drawing in through the belt, lifting up through the pelvic floor. Stabilize through the shoulders and lengthen through the arms. Inhale, exhale, slowly fold up and straighten the leg towards the ceiling. Remember, I'd said that you could keep the head down if it's too difficult. Inhale, exhale, raise the other leg up. Draw down through those shoulder blades. Elongate through that leg. So as the leg lengthens up towards the ceiling, you want to feel that the sit bones, or rather the lower back, is grounded and the toes are elongated. Remember, if you wish to keep the foot relaxed, not pointed, to avoid any uncomfortable feelings through the gastrocnemius, the calf muscle. Inhale, exhale, lengthen up, shoulders stabilize. Feel the elongation, the activation of the core as you move through the movement. And again, we're going to take about 5 repetitions each side. Stretch through the thigh muscle. Try to avoid any hip twisting. Keep the hips nice and level. Think about that tray of water across your abdominals. Draw down through the scapula, the shoulder blades. Return back to the mat. So by now you will probably feel a little bit of activation here through the abdominal muscles if you're really thinking about the control of the movement and working through it very carefully. We're going to go last time and lengthen away. Now if you wish to, this may be the place where you wish to stop and just take a breather for a minute or two. But I am going to progress it for those of you that wish to go up to the next level. So the next level, we're going to do 50 beats of the 100. We won't do the full lot. So really stabilize through the spine, draw the rib cage down, rib to hip connection. As you exhale, draw the other leg up and begin to be pumped. So we breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. With the head, if you wish to, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. We keep pumping. Feeling the elongation through the back of the neck. Keep breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3. Keep the abdominals drawn down. Really think about keeping the legs and the shins parallel to the floor. Slowly release the head back and release the legs back towards the floor, one at a time. Feel an elongation through the spine here now. Allow the abdominals now to stretch out through all the contraction that they have been performing. Take a few deep breaths here in a full body stretch. If you need to, bring the knees into the chest. just to soften off if that feels a good option for you as well. So from here we're going to move on to the side kick. So we're going to come round onto our side. Now the side kick can be done with the arm forward here, with a pillow underneath the head. Just make sure the head is in alignment and is not kind of lifted and side bending. If you wish to, take the arm above the head and then just extend the legs out like so. Now the bottom leg can be slightly bent. Don't bend it too much because it really does take a lot of the challenge out of the exercise. Think about just bending it slightly to give you a little bit of support there. Hand is in front. Now we're going to lift the bottom leg up and down about 4 or 5 times. We're going to breathe in, exhale, raise the leg up just to about hip height. Avoid bringing the leg high. Just think about elongation and length and then bring it down. So it's a little bit of a preparation this, just to work through the side of the hip and say hello to those abductor muscles on the outside there. Lifting up and down, inhale, exhale, lift and inhale down. And one last time, keeping those shoulders stacked on top of each other, underneath the arm glued into its socket. When you're ready, drawing the abdominals in, lifting the leg up, and then begin to sway the leg forwards and backwards. And gently forwards and backwards. So again, we can really challenge ourselves. Remember I said about having the leg completely straight here to really challenge that balance. If you need to, bend the leg, so it makes it a little bit easier. You can point the toes to the nose and then you point the toes on the way back. Again, you don't have to really point through those feet to avoid any kind of discomfort through the calf muscle. Again, we're going to take about 10 repetitions of that, just being very mindful of the range of motion that you're moving through the spine here. Really think about elongating through the leg as it comes back, lengthening through the hamstrings as it comes forward, and then elongating as it goes back towards the start position. Let's take a couple of more there, drawing in through the belt muscle, hips stacked. Good, last time here. Pulling it forwards and then gently elongating back, and then come into the fetus position just to release out if you need to. So we're now going to move on to our swan dive. So swan dive is really good for thoracic mobility and spinal elongation. So you're going to come round to lay on the front. Now if you need to decrease any kind of lumbar curvature or compression, just use the cushion underneath just where the ribs and the hips are, and this will help. So you might lie over it, something like this, for example, okay, and that will take some of the pressure out of the spine. You may need a block or a towel underneath the forehead as well to help with neck alignment. So from here, you're going to take your hands either side of your body. Make sure the elbow is in line with your shoulders. The abdominals will be drawn in and lifted up, so then you create space between the rib and the pelvis. From here, take a little bit of a length through the upper part of the body and lift. Lift up and slowly come back down. Up, coming up, elongating away. Imagine you're like a plane coming off a runway. Lifting through and coming down. Inhale to lift and exhale to come back. Take that one more time. Lifting up and then coming back down. So from here, we're now going to lift up and lift the arms and then come back to the mat. So really think about elongation. Avoid lifting high. Think more length of the spine. Push the elbows down towards the mat, so avoid them coming up. Push elbows to the mat. Lifting through the spine and gently coming down. Draw the abdominals in as well. Imagine the sit bones have got pieces of string attached to them, drawing down towards the heels. Let's take a couple more in our own time. Smooth, controlled movements. Inhale to lift through and exhale, just gently release. And then if you need to, just come up into a little bit of a cat stretch, round off through the spine and allow the back to release out. And then relax into a child's pose if you wish to here, just to soften off the back. Okay, so we're now going to come around and we're going to do the other side of the side kick. So make sure you haven't repeated the same side twice. So if your head was the same way as mine last time, facing the camera, you'll need to face the other way, looking at the camera, being opposite to me. So lying onto your side, again, block or cushion under the head, or arm extended away above you. Really plug the bottom shoulder into its socket and stabilize through the top shoulder. Lift up through the abdominals and begin to lift your top leg. Remember, you can have the underneath leg bent a little bit for support if you wish to. Really think about elongation. Avoid lifting the leg too high. We want to create space between the rib and the pelvis here, not compression. Draw in through the belt muscle. Use the hand in front as a little bit of support. 4 to 5 leg lifts. Then bend your leg if you need to. Begin to sway the leg forwards and backwards. Toes to nose, and then point the toes softly away. Just a soft elongation through the foot to avoid any discomfort through the gastrocnemius, the calf muscle. Really think about stabilizing. So the more the leg comes forward, really draw the core through. Stabilize here to keep the pelvis strong and the back supported. Again, we're going to take about 5 reps. If you want to make it harder, stretch the bottom leg. Bring the leg forward, utilizing the hamstring flexibility. Really think about the top shoulder being stabilized, so it's not rising up towards the ear. Keep the eyes looking ahead. Breathing in as we go back. Exhale as we come forward. And inhale as we go back. Okay, so we're going to take one more, coming forwards. And then gently going back, and then release into your fetus position there. So the next movement we have is shoulder bridge. So this is really good for lumbar mobility and strength. So coming to lie onto your back. Again, for this one, I wouldn't recommend having a massive towel underneath the head because you want to avoid compression into the neck here. So set yourself up, feet hip width apart. Shoulders stabilized, arms long and lengthened, and opening out through the chest. Big toe into the ground. So breathe in. Exhale, begin to articulate through the lower spine, just lifting the pelvis off the floor a little bit, and then gently going back to your mat. Inhale, exhale, curling through gently. Avoid firing up the buttock muscles right now. Yeah, keep them soft and loose so that we're really mobilizing through that lower spine and back to a neutral alignment. When you're ready, we're going to slowly begin to increase the range of motion. So we're going to gently come a little bit higher. So if you've got blood pressure issues, I wouldn't suggest it coming any higher than this. So my ribs are still in contact with the floor. Pressing down through that big toe so the knees stay in alignment with the actual hips. So you can keep staying with this level if you have any spinal issues or high blood pressure, or you can begin to take it up a little bit higher, firing up the gluteals, the buttock muscles, to lift the hips up into that lovely bridge position. So it wants to feel like a ski slope from the knee all the way down towards the shoulder and then back again. You want to think about peeling the vertebra one by one off the mat, lifting up as we go, curling the spine back segmentally as we travel back towards the floor. When you're ready, we can slowly increase this range of motion by taking the hips up, taking the arms all the way over the head, and then bringing the arms back, and then slowly bring the spine back towards the mat. So breath in, exhale, curl up, tucking through the pelvis, lifting through the hips, arms going over as we inhale. Exhale to float the arms back down. Inhale and exhale to float back through the spine to your mat with control. Let's take another 3 more. Inhale, exhale. Working through those lower muscles in the abdominal region, firing up the buttock muscles. Arms coming over as we inhale. Keep the hips lifted as the arms come back towards the mat. Pressing the big toe into the ground to keep the knees in line with the hips. And again, inhale, exhale, curling up, working through the spine, pressing down, arms coming over the head, lengthened, shoulders stabilized. Arms coming back, going down, back towards the mat. And then when you're ready, just softly bring the knees in just to ease out and release out. If you need to, take a little bit of a stretch through the hamstrings just to open up. And then the other one. Good. So now you will need to move on to your stretching phase to finish. So we're now coming on to the closing phase. So this is where we incorporate stretching out pretty much all of the muscles that we have worked in the session. So we're going to start with the good old hamstring stretch to begin with. So come to lay onto your back. Now, the bottom leg can be bent if you've got any spinal worries or concerns or issues, or straight. Top leg extended towards the ceiling. You can use a band around the foot or hands behind the leg. Taking a deep breath in here, exhale, and softly just feel a stretch through the back of the leg here. Opening up, feeling a soft elongation. Some of you may feel the leg is bent. That's fine, just work with the flexibility you have and slowly feel the opening through the back of the leg as you're here. You're feeling a stretch maybe here or in the belly of the muscle as well. We're going to just gently hold that for about 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, feeling the opening. Again, if you flex through the ankle, dorsiflex through the ankle like I am, you'll feel the stretch into the calf muscle as well. But whatever you do, don't bend off, keep the leg straight there. When you're ready, slowly bend the leg in, and we'll go to the other side. Extend the leg away, feel the stretch first. If the leg is slightly bent, try to slowly work to open that leg. Allow the breathing to be soft, floating through the breath. Feeling a nice sense of calm when you're stretching. Shouldn't be to a point of discomfort. Should just be feeling a nice, gentle stretch there. Just an awareness that you're stretching the muscle. Okay, so we're going to come on to butterfly stretch. You can open both legs out at the same time, or just do one leg at a time. So we're going to hold for about 10 to 15 seconds, feeling nice opening here, stretching through the inner thigh muscles. If you need to, you can just lift the pelvis a little bit, place the hands underneath the buttocks, or just keep the hands on top. Taking a few deep breaths, breathing in, breathing out, just to open out through those thighs. And then when you're ready, you slowly close the legs in carefully, and we're going to bring the knees into the chest. Okay, so we're going to just stretch through the lower back. If it feels better, open the knees out to the shoulders rather than having them over the rib cage. Might be a bit restricted for the breathing. It's up to you, depends how it feels. If it's too much doing both sides, you can always do one leg at a time, holding for 10-15 seconds. So breathing in and breathing out softly here. Feeling a gentle stretch through the lower back. Good. If you need to swap over to the other leg and hold that for a few breaths there before we move on to our next stretch. Again, you can bring the head up in this stretch as well if you wish to feel a little bit more through the back, but it can be quite challenging with the head up. So any concerns, keep the head down. When you're ready, coming over onto your side, we're going to do a thigh stretch and a hip flexor stretch. Laying on your side, taking the hand onto the knee, slide it down the leg towards the ankle, and then just take the knee away from you. Bend the bottom leg so you can be balanced. Guide the knee away, feeling the stretch through the thigh and the hip. Continue to breathe nice and softly. Again, just feeling a point of a little bit of tension here. If you can't hold the ankle, you can always wrap a band or a yoga strap around the ankle and hold that instead. Okay, might be easier. Then when you're ready, you can then slowly come up into a cat stretch. So we're going to open it out through our cat, just gently rounding off the back and then coming back through. So you can keep traveling this movement a little bit like a mobilizer, or if you wish to, just hold it there for a few seconds. Breathing wide and full into the back. When you're ready, softly relax back into your child's pose. Now the arms can be extended for a chest stretch, a side of body stretch, or bend the elbows if it's too much. Blood pressure concerns, 2 fists to keep the head higher than the heart. Here, I want you to feel like you're breathing right into your back here. Just allowing the back to ease out. When you're ready, slowly come up to a seated position. And then last time we had our head that way, so now we're going to have our heads this way so we stretch the other thigh muscle. So coming to lay on your side, again slide the hand down the leg towards the ankle and then slowly, gently take the leg away as far as you feel that you can. Softly holding that stretch there just for 10 to 15 seconds, feeling the stretch up through the thigh and into the hip possibly. Again, like I said on the last side, you can place a band around the ankle here to hold it, or a yoga strap. Looking straight ahead and just feeling a soft stretch there, so not too powerful. When you're ready, coming up to a seated position, and then we're going to take a seated side stretch. Just stretch out through the side of the body for the obliques and the latissimus dorsi muscle. Keeping those sit bones grounded, one hand beside you, lifting the arm up and over, and feel that stretch down through the side of the body. Elongate through the arm. If that's too powerful, soften the elbow off. Keep the breath wide and full here. Feeling that soft elongation. Float over to the other side and feel the stretch here on the other side. Keep the sit bones grounded, arm back, lengthening the arm away or bending the arm if you prefer, depending what feels better for your body. Few deep breaths here, just to elongate the side of the body. When you're ready, softly come back to center and just roll the shoulders around a few times. Just take a soft neck stretch to each side, just to ease out any tension there. And then gently allow the head to come center and bow the chin down. Just stretch through the back of the neck. So, hope you've enjoyed your sessions and look forward to seeing you soon.